Your Honor, do I have the stand? Do I have the attention of the court?
Proceed.
I will proceed. Thank you very much, Your Honor. Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, friends, Romans, countrymen, if I do recall in last week's episode of Pod on Lansdowne, one Liam Fennessy was in agreement that if the Boston Red Sox Baseball Club came back from a 4-game series in Baltimore and a 3-game series in Houston with just a 3-4 record at worst, things would be okay. Am I right or am I right?
No, you're correct. That stance hasn't changed.
I am correct.
That stance has not changed.
So, if we look into the documents here, in the Sox Appeal Was Taken chat, which is the Pod on Lansdowne chat.
he's pulling our text messages, my emails.
Yes, I'm pulling your IP. Here it is. Had to win that one from Liam Fennessy. Is that you, Mr. Fennessy? Had to win that one?
That would be me. That would be me.
Had to win that one. Royal schedule gets tough once we get home, but Jesus, we can't keep losing games like this. Now I will concede that to the defense. I will concede that.
That's a true point. Can't argue
that game Monday evening in Houston was a game that the Boston Red Sox Baseball Club, the team in question here, should have won. Instead, it was a walk-off win for the Houston Texans. Brains in football mode. Houston Astros.
No Oilers, baby.
Objection, Your Honor. That's the wrong sport. The Houston Astros Baseball Club. Fitz, this was the one to steal, Mr. Fennessy said to Fitz. Is that correct?
I stand by that.
Your Honor, do you see how I think that this is fucked up, as the kids would say? Many in this chat, two of them, one of them is not even here to defend themselves.
2 of 3.
Yeah. 2 of 3. One, again, who is not here to defend himself. Jake is not with us this week on Jury on Lansdowne, mock trial on Lansdowne. Fitz, myself, a.k.a. Craig Hansen, was not in agreement with that sentiment that it's over. I seem to believe, though, that thank you, Big Dom, hashtag respect, but the S is a 2, a.k.a. Liam, was in agreement with Wallinger's statement that it might be over.
Listen.
Now, Mr. Fennessy.
Listen, in my defense, emotions were high, you know.
Emotions were hot.
We were running hot last night post game. Maybe not the worst loss of the season. I still think that's last week's game against the Rangers, which we can talk about in a little bit. But it's like every 4 or 5 games now, there's some heartbreaking blown save by the bullpen. I think I had a Spear tweet pulled up. We have 12 blown saves since the All-Star break. No other team has 8. So what does that tell you? I mean, it's clear as day whom I don't fuck with is. It's that whole collective minus Mr. Martin and Mr. Jansen.
Well, you know what it does tell you?
I can get that one out of the way real fast.
You know what it does tell you, to put that on ice for a second? It does tell you that we're very happy that you could join us this week on the podcast. Thank you for listening to Pod on Lansdowne. But no, to go right back into it, just dive balls deep into this. Yeah.
Things are tense, Fitz. Things are tense. This is do or die. You said it like 2 weeks ago when we were playing the Royals that at the time that was the most important series of the year. And now every series is the most important series of the year.
Well, the quote from Alex Cora from a few weeks ago from that Seattle series back at Fenway, it keeps being brought up on the EEI and the NESN broadcasts. You see it thrown around every now and again. He says that all of these games, all of these series are the biggest of the year. You come to that point. Now, though, it does feel a little bit different from where we were a couple weeks ago with the Sox, where you really do feel like it's in this danger zone now. Like, sure, there's a month.
I feel like we're playing playoff baseball already. Like Saturday night's game, or I guess it was Friday night's game against the Orioles. Like that felt like a back and forth playoff game. I took years off my life. And then Monday night's game in Houston, I'm like, I'm living and dying on every pitch already. And I pray to God we just make it through this stretch and let's just get me home. Just get me home. Just
That's
get me
the
to
name of the
Friday
game.
night.
Just get us back to Fenway.
Not that the Diamondbacks make me feel any better because they are red hot. But
you get
we
some
gotta
home
get
cooking.
home. We got to get to that Toronto series, I guess is the main point. 5 against Toronto, then I think it's Detroit after that. Like that's when we can kind of hopefully lock in and make up some ground. We just got to survive. We just got to survive for the next week. That's all.
It is so hard. It is so hard for any team, no matter how good, to beat any team 6 times in a row, no matter how bad. Now, granted, this could 100% be famous last words here. We were recording this as it stands right now. It is just before 8:00 Tuesday evening. Liam and I here recording the pod about 10 minutes before first pitch for Tuesday night's game against the Astros, who have won 4 straight this year against the Sox. It's hard to win 6 in a row. It's hard to have 2 sweeps back to back. No matter how good the team is, no matter how bad the opposition is, it's just tough. If you can get out of Houston even with just 1 win, and I said this last week, I'll say it again, I understand it's a loser's mentality, but if this road trip ends up in a 3-4 mark, I think you can wipe the dust off. Be okay, let's recalibrate, get home Thursday, get some home cooking, hopefully have a good result against Arizona, then hit the ground running against some of these mid teams. Your Torontos, your Detroits, so the White Sox are coming up. I believe that's right. Labor Day weekend or the weekend after Labor Day weekend. The point is
something during that. They're in that 13, 14
early September.
I think the Mets are in there too.
The Mets are in there. Who they're in the chase, but they're not.
They're in the same spot we're in.
Exactly right, and you have an opportunity there to take advantage. Whereas you tweeted out the schedule for the Royals starting next week. They've got a pretty tough stretch coming up, do they not?
Yes. Let me grab it real quick because I did have it. Shit. Scrolling through my timeline.
Well, while you scroll through the timeline, let me just say this again. Even though, that's a losing record on the road, 4 in Baltimore to split that, and when you could have had 3 or 4 dropping Sunday.
Sunday's game was so annoying. You have 11 hits, like there's runners on base every inning.
It's baseball, but you would have taken a split.
100%. Like to me, the split was the best case scenario going in anyway. So the fact that they lit up Burns Friday night, I mean, hell, the offense is still cooking. Their offense is not an issue here. It's just holy shit. We get to the 6th, 7th inning. If it's close, man, like I'm just at this point, I'm expecting. Like 4 or 5 runs. 4 or 5 runs like might not be enough if you're up by that much.
Their ERA, I think, since the All-Star break for the bullpen is around 7, which is I
have those stats for you.
Well, I wrote it in the Brushback article Sunday to be published early Monday. I believe it was like a 6.93 or 6.96 bullpen ERA since the start of the second half, which was almost a damn near run higher than the White Sox at 29. The White Sox were at like 6.02 or something like that. So almost a full run. And given what happened Monday, I can't imagine it went down a ton after that. Do you have the updated stat here before first pitch Tuesday? Which God knows what it is after Tuesday. If you're listening to this Wednesday, God knows what the bullpen ERA is.
So these stats are from it's Brian Barrett. I think he's a guy that does a podcast or a show for The Ringer. He tweeted out some good nuggets this morning, Tuesday morning. Sox bullpen post deadline 6.28 ERA. That's 30th in the league, folks. That would be dead last. The 5th
28 ERA. That's better than what it actually was.
I mean, it's better than what you thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so the FIP is 5.56, folks. That's also 30th.
Positive regression may be due though. Maybe it's not so bad.
You never know. 17 bombs, that's also 30th. 26 barrels, that's also.
I'm sorry,
30th.
did you say 17?
17.
Jesus Christ almighty.
26 barrels, 16 meltdowns.
Well, what's a meltdown specifically known as? Like, how do you?
I think it's like if you're up by three or more. It's. I think it's like the blown save of all blown saves.
Okay.
Sounds bad. So I mean everything. The bullpen. Pull up any stat you want. They're essentially dead last since the deadline. And that's even with the reinforcements you brought in with Sims and Garcia. Don't even get me started. But Yeah. Oh, here's another fun one. This is from Brooksgate. I had this bookmarked this morning. The Cubs, Astros, and Athletics bullpens combined have given up 91 runs since the All-Star break. Do you know how many runs our bullpen has given up?
It was like 106. I quoted this.
105.
105. Okay, so not so bad as I thought.
But yeah, just not great, guys. So I mean, you just pray to God that the Royals, and I have their schedule here, they start with Philadelphia on Friday.
Keep saying that schedule, because Nesson just had a graphic on TV. I'm seeing to the side, and he gave like all the win percentages and whatnot of their upcoming stretch. I want to rewind it and get it. But tell the good people, tell the good folks what's coming up for Kansas City.
So Kansas City right now,
they are.
So Kansas City right now, they're playing Anaheim and KC. Then Philly comes into KC for 3 this weekend. Then they have 4 in Cleveland, one of which is a doubleheader next Monday. Then they have 4 at Houston. Then Cleveland comes to Kansas City for 3 that following week. Then Minnesota, who they're not necessarily tied with. They are tied for that second/third wild card. And then they play the Yankees. So August 23rd through September 11th, the Royals are running the gauntlet. Philly, Cleveland, Houston, Cleveland, Minnesota, New York.
Through that Minnesota series, I have it right here. This is just based off of what Nesson had on the pregame show. It doesn't show the Yankees, but considering that the Yankees have one of the best records in baseball, can't imagine that this win percentage number is going to go down on their end. But from the Angels series through that Minnesota series, the Royals are facing a combined winning percentage of 547. Okay, just to give you an idea. With the Astros, the last 2 games of the Astros series, again, who knows what happens Tuesday? Hopefully they won, or else this is going to sound really, really bad when you listen to this Wednesday. Through the White Sox series, convenient that they cut it off at the White Sox series. I understand that, but point remains. For the Red Sox, that's a 469 combined winning percentage. First of all, nice. Second of all, that's a prime opportunity potentially to make up some ground. I feel like the Royals keep winning. Every time I check when we need them to be losing, they're well out in front of any of these games. That's just how it feels to me personally.
Yeah, I mean they're 7-3 in their last 10. They have the same record as the Twins now. They've caught the Twins.
Right. So yeah, maybe
at this point we need to
away from the Royals.
Focus. Yeah, we might need to shift our focus to the Twins when it's all said and done,
which we have a series with them in September, I believe. Do we not?
We sure do. It's the weekend of the 19th, 20th, and 21st.
Ooh, real late in the year. The sun could be getting real low at that point. That could be. That could
be a huge series. And that's a weekend. That's a weekend at Fenway. That could feel like playoff games if God willing we're still in it in that final week.
Yeah. And again, it's a month and change left, 4.5 out, or if you're listening to this, it could be 5.5 out. Even then, the sky might be falling. It might feel like it's falling. It's not over at that point. If you can make up a game within a week through that stretch, you'd be fine, because that's about 5 or 6 weeks or so until the end of the season. Given, there's about 2 weeks left in August, 4 in September, call it, just based off of that, because it goes right into the very end of September. 5.5 is not, you're not dead just yet. It's tough. The sun could be getting low, to quote Jake. Jake would say that if he was here. But at some point, and we already kind of alluded to it a few minutes ago, at some point our guys just have to execute, right? We can critique the front office in the offseason or at the deadline not supplementing pitching enough, which is become the marquee problem for the team right now as of the day, especially the bullpen. You can critique decisions from Cora to pull a starter, maybe like there was a week and a half ago when Houck was only at like 60 pitches through 5 or 80 pitches through 5, and we kind of kicked her, should Houck have stayed in? Do you manage the innings? At some point, though, the guys have to fucking execute. Dudes need to execute. Lucas Sims can't be so helter-skelter. He had a good outing the other night in Baltimore. I believe he came in one of those games. I think it was in the Friday game, I believe, and had a big outing.
Yes, I think that's correct.
Right, but he had it was rough sledding on Monday. My dad texted me.
The Astros straight have his number, I guess, because they knocked him around at Fenway too.
Kenley has been great. He hadn't given up an earned run, I believe, in a couple of weeks, but he can't be giving up a cookie to have give up the walk-off on Monday. After we all breathed a sigh of relief when Alvarez was struck out on 3 pitches.
He struck out on 3 pitches, like down the pipe. Like Kenley went right after him, and then
sure as shit, next pitch, game over. Hey, Chris Martin's been great. Good for my Coldplay agenda, but not really worth.
That's what now. Also, I mean, if we're looking long term too, I'm kind of like, say Kenley and Martin don't come back next year. Who the hell is closing games for this team? Like, I don't even care.
Hopefully, Hendricks could be back to offer some help.
I mean,
now,
yes.
But I'm not counting on it.
But at the same time, like, okay, what's the next? Like, do we have our eyes on 2 or 3 guys that we can kind of peg to give us high leverage innings next year, late in games?
Slayton?
I mean, okay, Slayton. You'd hope Zach Kelly kind of settles down here in the last month
he's had an August to forget. Same with Winkowski. Winkowski has not been good this month.
So I mean, I just the idea of the bullpen without Jansen and Martin right now terrifies me. Like,
I mean, the idea with them right now terrifies me. The idea as it stands right now, the bullpen, it's terrifying. I want to say, and you mentioned his name briefly, but we'd be remiss if we didn't spend a little bit more time discussing him. As I get older and wiser, I try not to get too worked up about bad performances. I'm sure Luis Garcia is a fine gentleman. I'm sure his family and friends appreciate him. I'm sure he's a good guy off the field. Short of the team being up or down by 2 touchdowns and a field goal, I don't want to see him on the mound. He is either, at best, he is either your human victory cigar or he is your human surrender flag. If they cut their losses on him, I would be like that. This is it, because whatever he's doing right now, whatever's happened in the Bailey pitching lab with Garcia, I need that experiment to end. This is bad, dude.
It's genuinely shocking to me. I don't remember just a deadline piece in general going this poorly. He's made 7 appearances. He's given up a run in 6 of them. In total, he's pitched 7 2/3 innings. He's given up 13 runs, 12 earned runs. Okay, so saves him 1 run there. 4 home runs. The ERA is 14.1. The FIP is 8.8. They're hitting.
Maybe he's due for some regression. 6 runs worth of regression there, Liam, down to his FIP. Are you kidding me?
I mean, it just feels like they're still hitting rockets off him. I don't know. I mean, the BABIP is 400, so yeah, sure.
But he's just getting unlucky.
He's getting fucking crushed.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that one, Luis. We'll see you in mop-up duty for the time being. His ERA has gone from 3.7 since we got him up to 5.3 in just 7 appearances. It was 3.6 after his first inning with us too, and in the last 6 outings, it's jumped to 5.3. I'm almost impressed at that point at how poorly it's gone.
Again, I appreciate the effort from Breslow to try to supplement the bullpen. Clearly,
it made sense too. Like for Garcia too. Like, you gave up 4 players, but for the most part, like, those were Rule 5 guys that probably weren't going to stick on the 40-man anyway. So cool, it was worth a try. Certainly hasn't gone well the first month we've had him. So I don't know. Maybe September's different.
And again, maybe a guy who wouldn't have figured to be right. And again, maybe for a guy who wouldn't have figured to be a part of the long-term picture, but it does add a little insult to injury to have seen Cavadas make his debut a few days ago.
Like 10 minutes after
he imploded. Yeah.
just a nightmare.
So yeah, we're just gonna have to fucking white knuckle this shit, man. I see, and maybe this is just the absolute floor of what it can be. Maybe they just luck into a couple of good stretches because baseball is stupid like that, But man, they cannot keep dropping games like they did on Monday or against the Rangers or almost on Friday. Almost. They were
almost on Friday.
They were able to
thankfully
lock
the
it
fucking
down.
Thankfully the offense just kept fucking coming because
folks, they kept coming.
They kept coming. I mean, just I think I've got another stat. Like they've scored the third most runs in the second half. Yeah. Okay.
Well,
so
they just scored another one.
This isn't
Abreu.
Okay, nice, good start. Here's another stat from Brian Barrett. Top 3 teams in runs scored in the second half: Diamondbacks, Sox, Royals. Arizona's 21-8 in the second half. Kansas City's 18-10 in the second half. The Red Sox are 12-17 in the second half.
They could so easily be at 500.
That's just like what pisses me off so much.
In LA, you think of again these past 2 easily winnable games over this past week. That you could be at 500, and that makes all the difference. You could, instead of sitting here at 4.5 back, you're right at 12 blown. So.
Even if you like half of those blown saves, if by some miracle they hadn't happened, like that would make a world of difference right now. But sadly, if my aunt had wheels, she'd be a bicycle. So
she doesn't. So she's not.
And here we are.
It's not.
It is not over yet by any means. I still agree with the sentiment that if we come home with a 3-4 road trip, that is a resounding success.
I think it's fine. You just lick your wounds and you get after you.
We'll be like Bush on the aircraft carrier. Like mission accomplished if we come home 3-4. That
well, that would be a bit ominous given the historical context of what followed after that. So maybe
the implications there. But no, I mean, like you said, it does seem highly improbable that Houston wins all 6 games against
Punch him in the mouth. Triston Casas! Come on! It's not over yet, Liam. It's not over yet. Get back 3-4. Hey, maybe even 4-3. If they can hold on here.
Lot of ball. Don't worry, the pitching staff still needs to get 27 outs.
Yeah, right. Well, so does their pitching staff. To be fair, everyone needs to get 27 outs here. 3-0, no outs. Again, this could be if things go south.
This could be another heartbreaker.
This could be all time Pod on Lansdowne curse here. Look at us just celebrating. A nuke from Casas, who, welcome back to him. I want to talk about him in the next segment. We're going to go to break in just a second. But man, if this shit goes belly up tonight, Jonah's going to have a hell of a clip to pull. I'm just getting excited right now. Me talking about a winning road trip. Oh boy, I don't want to.
Not even a winning road trip. I 3-4, man.
Yeah, exactly. If you could at least do that. So one way or the other, whatever happens on Tuesday, they'll have a chance at 3-4. But anyway, do we want to take a quick break?
Let's do it. Why not?
Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back on Pod on Lansdowne after these messages. Or sometimes they don't give messages. Sometimes the ads don't.
Sometimes they don't play at all.
You might luck out and not have any messages, but
you never know.
There's only one way to find out. All right, I'm gonna tweet a couple of things, or I gotta tweet something from the podcast about.
Yeah, I gotta mess with this setup because it's a real bitch to not be able to watch the game while we record these.
I got the TV right to the left of me here. I'm upstairs. As to not.
I gotta swing like all the way around.
Yeah, break your neck doing that. Let's see, Red Sox. There we go. There's Triston Casas' great content picture. That will play. Hi, who was ever watching? I don't know who it is, but. Okay, back soon. 5 seconds. We have returned Pod on Lansdowne. No Jake this week. We love you, Jake. But we are here with Liam. I'm Fitz. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you most certainly can. The show is at Pod on Lansdowne. I'm at Fitzimo Pena. Liam is at Liam Fantasy _. Jake is at Jake Wallinger. And hey, you might want to follow us on Twitter over the offseason because, Liam, it's time to crown us King me with this shit. The winner.
There you go.
Crown
right on you.
Ed
right
Hand,
on
Red Sox Twitter personality play-in tournament for a spot in the actual field of, I don't know if it's 64 Twitter accounts or not, but the podcast
I have no idea.
From that play-in.
I have no idea how many podcasts could possibly be in this bracket. There can't be that many, right?
Well, we're one of them because we won.
Yeah, we're one of them.
What they gonna say now? We did it! But anyways, in all seriousness, thank you to everyone who voted for us. Thank you for always shooting the shit with us on Twitter. We really do appreciate it. It's we do it for the love of the game, and we love people who interact with us and follow us along during the off season or during the regular season. No postseason tweeting yet, though, ever since we started doing this as a trio. Hopefully that can change this year. But in all sincerity,
third time's the charm.
Third time's exactly right. That's what they say. But in all sincerity, thank you to everyone who supports the show and follows along with it. We really do appreciate it. But yeah,
we got shooters. We got shooters. Perverts. We love our perverts.
We love our perverts. Always come through. I will say there was a lot of canvassing for those other shows, and they are great shows. But the perverts came through, and we are always eternally grateful for the perverts. Now, you, Liam, speaking of that Twitter tournament, you've got two horses in the race.
That's true. I've got the pod and myself somehow.
And yourself.
I don't understand either.
He has the chance to do the funniest thing of all time and pit you against the podcast first round.
Well, wait. I thought the podcast was its own bracket.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's separate.
I thought it got a spot in the main tournament.
Oh. I don't know. I don't know how he shakes it all up. I don't know. I thought
come on the pod if you're listening to this.
explain the electoral college to us.
Yeah, right. Yeah, 270 to win here for the podcast. If it is you against the pod, Jake and I are 100% teaming up against you.
I mean, as you should. I wouldn't expect anything different.
But then you'll tweet some fucking meme and it'll get 30,000 likes, and then you'll beat the team, and then what do we do? Then what? Right? We can't. It's like a primary, and we picked the wrong horse to bet on in the primary. So, but anyways, again, one more time, thank you to everybody who voted for us. We appreciate it. I'm fucking with the fact this week. Or what are you going to say?
I was going to say, I mean, you mentioned it, like the no postseason tweeting as of yet for us. But I don't know. I was out and about today. There was a chill in the air, and I don't know. There was a day last week too where it was like 65 out, no humidity, little breeze, and you start to feel it, especially with the games they're playing right now. I'm like,
that magic.
Just give me meaningful baseball in September, because
just like a little brisk.
Just give me. Like I don't need the whole month. If we're not going to pull it off, it's okay if we fall off, in the third or the fourth week of September. Just get me a couple weeks of meaningful baseball in the
fall air at Fenway.
I know. Just, oh my God, I need it. I feel like Cap in Endgame, where he's like, I don't know what I'm going to do if we don't. I don't know what I'm gonna do if we don't have October baseball at Fenway.
If I can't have some Oktoberfest in the bleachers in Game 2 of the wild card series, what's this all been about? What's this all been for?
I mean, absolute chills if we do, by some miracle, land the third wild card and it's a wild card series in the Bronx.
Oh.
We'd have to go.
I think so, to at least one of those games. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there might only be two of them
Tuesday,
anyway.
Wednesday, and right.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be super dumb. Bring back the 1-game playoff. Get rid of this third wild card nonsense. I'm sick of it, Rob Manfred.
Well, what if we don't get the third wild?
That's a rant for another day. Changing the whole playoff.
We've talked about this before.
Yeah, that's an off-season topic, which
we've discussed this. I think it's in my off-season topics document, which is a thing. Off-season topics. How to fix the All-Star Game voting, 2012 Red Sox deep dive, Smiling Friends lore episode, I'll add it now. Fix the playoff structure, parentheses, bring back WC game. There you go.
Just the one game.
That's a month worth of episodes right there. That's 4 episodes right there. One episode.
That'll get us through the holidays. That'll get us through the holidays.
Right? Exactly. Right? Yeah. No trades or free agent signings during the offseason. People want to stay where they are, stay located with their families, and then after that, the hot stove goes right back up.
Yeah.
I actually don't know if that's true whatsoever. I feel like December has a good amount of movement. I think Shohei signed like a week before Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, there's the winter meetings and all that. But hey, if there's something big, we can bookmark an episode for that, and then that takes us into January.
They're breaking
the off-season schedule is coming together.
Exactly. But anyways, I'm fucking with the fact that Tristan Casas is back this week, Liam. He has returned. I'm not fucking with the fact that, although I understand it, he comes at the expense of your boy Dom Smith. Would you like to say a couple words? You as the head of the Dom Smith gang, you and Santi, I'd say the BDSM gang. I know how much you meant to you guys.
Wow, God, I don't know where to begin. I'll try to keep it together. What can you say? Just larger than life. Gave everything for his teammates, for the franchise, for the fans. He did what was asked. He showed up every day.
For the sexual perverts, BDSM.
Yeah, there were BDSM moments that we will never forget. Up and down. I mean, thankfully, me, Jake, and Santi were lucky enough to be at his Red Sox debut. It was a beautiful early May game against the Giants, and I remember being shocked that they gave him number 2. But now I can't see anyone else wearing it, to be quite honest. So to me, it is, I can't even come up with like a comp for it where there's a guy that's here for like 60 games and we all rally around him that quickly. I've never seen anything like it. So, I mean, God bless Dom Smith. I think there was a stat I saw like last week. He's already, well, I guess, I don't know if anyone will end up picking him up for the final month of the season, but like his 20 or 21 doubles this year were second or like
third on the team. I saw that on the Nesson Crawl. Like
they were like, he was like
in extra base hits. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doubles at least.
Yeah. So it was like, he was giving you stuff with the bat. He was giving you stuff with the glove. I know it sucks that, obviously we love that Casas is back, and we love Tristan, but a vibes guy that kind of chips in here and there and does everything that's asked, and by all accounts seems like a great dude. I mean, there was nothing you could dislike about Big Dom, and I'm gonna miss him. I'm gonna miss him a lot. They officially released him today. And it's heartbreaking. It really is. I thought, maybe he'd be outrighted to Worcester. Maybe that was just me coping. But here we are. And I'm not ready for a world without Dom. But got to move on.
Yeah.
Got to move on.
Crazy that they cut bait with him when he has a 0 ERA. And they still trot Garcia out there, and they needed the lefty, especially with Boozer on the shelf. Now they could use another southpaw in the pen. Could have
just been bringing him out of the pen.
I don't want to be doing your job for you, Mr. Breslow, but I can't help but notice that. But seriously, it's you understand why it becomes a bit of a redundancy to have him in a baseball sense, another left-handed first baseman there with Casas coming back. Obviously, the vibes part of it sucks. None of these things as fans don't always have to be 100% practical. He became a fan favorite very quickly, and people were sad about that. That makes 100% sense, and you're justified in feeling that, even if you can also be honest with yourselves and say, okay, well, somebody had to go. It makes sense for it, unfortunately, to be Dom Smith. But his contributions won't be forgotten. I mean, he was the fourth, fifth option to play first base when Casas' rib issue came up.
We went through Bobby, we went through Garrett Cooper,
who you remembered was a part of the team earlier today.
Earlier today, thanks to work.
Jump scare.
Yeah.
Garrett Cooper.
So I mean, it's just kind of, I don't know. It was a guy when we signed him, I was expecting very little of, and I I don't know. He was nice to have around. He was just neat. That's all.
I just
the only way I could put it.
He's neat.
Just think Big Dom's neat. That's all. He seemed like a great guy, and the fans loved him. And I mean, what a legacy! What a legacy!
With that said, I mean, it just makes you feel so much better about the lineup depth, especially if the peripheral the non all-star guys on the team stepping up. You know, if Yoshida's hot streak keeps going, which, by the way, I love the fact that he's actually lifting the ball off the ground now. He realized he didn't have to hit it right into the ground, right into the dirt at second base every single time. He realized, oh yeah, you can actually drive the ball, and it's done wonders for him this year when he's actually done that. But if guys like that are continuing to contribute, and then you insert Casas in there with Devers providing protection, it makes me a little less scared about the home stretch here, especially if you have some pitching concerns. Because if the offense can, go into Camden on some nights and put up a dozen runs, it has the potential to do that. Obviously, that's a bit of an outlier of an explanation, but the point remains that they still have some juice there. It just makes you feel better that if they can then insert Casas into that lineup. And then you saw it here Tuesday.
Tonight's lineup alone, like Tuesday night's lineup, might be the best lineup they've put out all year.
Yeah, and you saw it right at the top. Duran gets
right
on,
away.
Right? He legs out a double from there. He's able to immediately take third on a wild pitch. Willier drives him in, good piece of hitting, and then Casas, boom, takes advantage. And obviously Devers is, throughout the whole year, he's been an impact bat as well. So to have that at the top of the lineup, it just makes you feel a lot better about these things. If the pitching can at least hold on over these next few weeks, then you're going to give yourself a good puncher's chance. So I'm happy to see Casas back in the lineup, even if it comes, again, at the expense of...
What did it cost? Dom. Everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Fitz, that's a good one. And timely, too, considering his first inning tonight. And you mentioned our good friend Masa. God, he's hotter than hell right now. What can you say? I pulled up his numbers. Obviously, he missed the entirety of May with that thumb issue. And then he came back his first week in June. It was June 11th through the 22nd. So his first 9 games back, they were not inspiring. We were like, Moss is back, and he's not giving us anything. His slash was 118, 189, 147. The OPS was 336 in his first 9 games back off the IL. But, friends, lo and behold, he had a 2-hit game against the Toronto Blue Jays on June 24th. And in the 43 games total since then, he's hitting 353, 429, 559.
The 3-3, Liam. Oh, we jinxed it.
Yeah, that's not surprising whatsoever.
That's, what? I'm going to be a man right off the bat. My bad. I said we might be 4-3 at the end of the road trip. Hand up.
I told you we had to get 27 outs.
You see me? See this right here? See that, Liam? That's my hand, and it's up. That's my fault. I apologize. That won't happen again. I should know better. Jesus Christ.
Fuck,
John Singleton. Not even the worst pitch in the world. Curveball.
No, it's not.
Outside part of the plate, lower outside.
Dug it out.
Did a good job. Yeah, right. Good job golfing it. But
John Singleton, great story, by the way. I love him.
Yeah.
Obviously not in this moment, but cool dude. Yeah, on a lighter note, Moss has been killing it. The OPS is 980 in his last 43 games. So, I mean, look at that. That's June 24th through August 19th. That's basically 2 months where he's been red hot. 7 home runs, 16 walks to only 24 strikeouts, 54 hits overall, 9 doubles. Like, when Moss, I mean, I feel like Cora's been saying it at least once a week now. He's just like, yeah, Moss is locked in, or the lineup's elite when Moss is hitting, and shit. I mean, I can't argue with it. He is a legitimate major league hitter when he's going. And
when he's locked in.
I know when we were all down on him after April. Like, shit, his April alone was fucking ugly. He hit a whopping. Well, actually, okay. I mean, to be honest, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't great, but it was okay. His slash in April was 275, 350, 388. The OPS was 740. Like that's not terrible, but obviously that's not what we wanted from the DH slot. So he kind of got knocked there. But shit, since then he's the Massa I grew to love last summer when he was hotter than hell. And the thing is, it's not like to me, he's not really. Obviously, he goes through stretches where he will just pound the ball into the right side of the infield. But at the same time, like I don't ever feel like he's giving at bats away, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like the at bats are professional night in and night out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Like the 24 strikeouts in 43 games. Like, so he's always putting bat to ball. He's always seeing pitches. I know he's not your prototypical DH. And I'm the biggest Massa defender in the world. I still think you could survive with him in left field at Fenway for a few games. The offense, I'm going full that boy nice watcher here. Like last season, man, I thought his defense was fine. Obviously, it wasn't anything spectacular, but he was throwing to the right bases. He was hitting the cutoff man. He's not going to make any spectacular catches out there with his tiny legs. There's not a lot of range. But you can very easily hide him in left field at Fenway, if need be. And obviously, we know Tyler O'Neill's probably not coming back next year. The outfield, once again, is going to get crowded. So
log jam.
And if you could move him in the offseason, obviously, I'm sure Breslow would prefer to.
I don't think anyone's going to take that contract.
18.5 mil off the books, but if he's hitting like this the rest of
the amount of it,
that's the thing. If he's hitting like this the rest of the year, I know what he lacks in versatility. I think he's more than making up for with his bat right now. Like 350 over the last 2 months. Come on now,
it's just a matter of consistency at the bat, and we've kind of danced around that a couple of times. You just mentioned it. When he's on, he's on. And then he has the stretches where he is most certainly not on. But
I do think like September will tell us everything. If he can do it through September, then I'm like, okay, last year was clearly just, okay, he played in the World Baseball Classic. He's adjusting to the Major League schedule. And he just kind of ran out of gas at the end of 2023. So if he can give you another, I mean, basically we have like 45 games left. So if in total he's still hitting over 300. If I go back to what was my cutoff? June 24th through the end of the season. If he's still hitting over 300, I'm like, what's like, if that to me, I would be convinced that that's who he is as a major league hitter.
And part of it, again, in terms of putting it together, he at least has the foundation of being a guy, like you had mentioned, not giving it away, and he at-bats away. Again, he rarely, if ever, strikes out. This year, 13.2% K rate, which, to be clear, that's a 95th percentile across the league. Doesn't whiff at many pitches, 94th percentile with percentage. Chase rate is 92nd percentile. Draws his fair share of walks in that regard too, but doesn't strike out much. Good command of the zone, all things considered, right? If he has that, which he demonstrated last year, he didn't strike out a ton last year either, 14%, which is crazy that it actually went down just a little bit so far this year to date if you extrapolate it. But if he at least has that, and if it's just a matter of lifting the ball a bit more, and if he's shown improvement with that this year, that looks like an avenue for more success. Now, I'm not smart enough to sit here and break down exactly, why is he driving the ball more? Yeah, right? I don't know how, I'm not paid to do that. If that is something that can be sustainable down the line, though, you might be able to make something out of this yet. You mentioned, the left field defense as a that boy nice watcher is fine. I agree. I don't know if the team is ever going to agree with that, even if you are just sticking to him
especially with the new regime. Like, I think
that might be a moot point.
Where they just don't value him in the field whatsoever.
But if he is going to be sticking around, if this is something that the good work he's done in the last couple of weeks, in terms of driving the ball. And again, having that good control, that good authority over the strike zone, understanding what to lay off of, what not to whiff at, and what to attack on. That's a good building block to build on. If you can lift the ball a bit more, then we can see, those counting stats, those production stats, more consistently be a bit higher, which would be great. So, but again, I don't know how sustainable that is, but it's at least a good start in terms of making Yoshida more of a productive hitter. And I think we would all enjoy that. The outfield logjam did get some run on Red Sox Twitter this week, though. I feel like this is going to be one of those things where we have this conversation every other week.
100%. It's not going anywhere. It's going to be here all winter too, especially if they go out and sign somebody like Teoscar.
Anecdotally speaking, I met up with some cousins of mine over the weekend having some drinks, and we were kicking around the idea of, okay, would you trade this guy for this pitcher? What would you give up for this? Logan Webb was thrown around a lot. I mentioned Logan Gilbert as someone potentially, but I don't know if the Mariners would budge on him. And would you give up Anthony? No, I don't know if I'd go that far. Okay, would you give up this guy? Would you give up that guy? Who's going to be, and who knows if any of them get thrown around for a marquee pitcher, right?
Here's my thing.
Outfield depth.
Jake, I feel like would be in agreement with me here. Just go fucking sign Corbin Burns or Max Fried this winter. And you don't have to trade any of your top position players.
Right? Yeah.
Like, okay, all it takes is money, man. And
it's the same conversation. If you want to hear this conversation, go back to any of our offseason episodes about Jordan Montgomery.
Just open the checkbook, John.
Jordan Montgomery has not worked out this year, but you also missed like the entirety of spring training.
Right, so like there's no spring training for him, and like he got fucked. Obviously, like Blake Snell has looked amazing for the last month now.
Our Blake Snell slander is not aging.
It has not looked good for the last month. But also he came out of the gates really slow because he had no spring training. It was like, I think either way, if we had given either of them money that late in the offseason, holy shit,
Bailey
like
pitching lab,
heads would have been rolling. That narrative would have been out of control. So fuck it. If we're actually going to be serious about spending money this winter, we need to do it early. Let's just fucking sit on our hands like we've been doing the last 3 winters.
But do we think that's indicative of the league as a whole? Like, do you think that the Red Sox are just part
of
100%.
100%. I think it's all. I think it
right, wrong, or indifferent.
Right, wrong, or different. I think it also stems from, and I was thinking about this on my walk earlier today when I was like, damn, like I don't know what I'm going to do if we don't have postseason baseball this year. Where it was just kind of like there is no excuse for a team with the resources that they have to miss the playoffs 3 years in a row when there are 3 wild card spots. Like there's simply no excuse for it.
There are more. There are as many wild card spots as they do like big money contracts on the team. If you qualify Bayo and Seti as those big money,
Sure.
Right? You know what I mean? They have these resources. Like they're not paying these massive luxury tax
sums of money
year in and
like
year
we
out.
have. Right? The luxury tax is under control. We have room to spend. There's more room to spend this winter because we didn't spend last winter. Like,
and you got the prospects coming up. Yeah, Casas is probably going to want an extension, and you should probably lock him in.
I would jump on that. I would jump on that early.
The earlier you do it, the more glowing that's going to look going forward. Because I don't think Casas's bat is going to be declining anytime soon. So the more you wait on that, the higher that price tag is going to go up, and then it does become.
It's going to be a fucking Devers situation where you wait until 1 year before free agency, and holy shit, the whole fan base is freaking out because you're going to let another generational talent walk. But yeah, let's just get serious this winter. That's all I ask.
If Duran sticks around, he's under control.
There's no reason to extend Duran. I'm sorry. He's been amazing, dynamic, like 5-tool player like you read about, but the man's not a free agent until like age 32. Mm-hmm. Why would I lock up a guy whose best tool is his legs when clearly there are countless examples of that tool not aging well?
It's just how the human body works.
Your legs are going to go, buddy. The speed fades. I'm sorry.
And if you wanted, like, if they wanted to reward his good play with like throwing an extra year onto that, like where he would hit free agency at 33 and you bump that AAV up a little bit as like
I'd be more than fine
for playing with, maybe, but
no, I'd be more than fine like buying out the ARB years so you really don't have to deal with that headache. But no, I wouldn't extend him beyond.
And I also think that
where he's under contract for.
That sets a good precedent for the rest. I mean, if you have a bunch of kids coming up, and
yes,
here's this guy who worked his way through the system to be an impact player, it at least says to them, hey, if you're able to bust your ass for us, get a little cheddar at the end, right? You know what I mean? It's not.
I do think that says so.
Right, like
I agree with that.
The front office management doesn't always have to be about these X and O's. Like, okay, like this player is worth X amount of dollars for this. You should look at what the Braves have done. I understand
they lock them up early and often, man.
Right, and it's their guys a lot of the time, or guys that they went out of their way to acquire. I understand that they locked up Olsen in that way, but they gave Acuna a bag early. They locked in Albies. They've locked in Strider. There is something I think to be said about.
They give Riley a bag too, right? And Michael Harris.
I believe they did.
Like fucking all of them are right. They're just handing out 6-7 year deals.
And with that, by proxy, 2% of all that money is going to the Atlanta Braves Foundation. So
that's right. Can't forget it.
Has to be money laundering. Absolutely has to be money laundering. There's something there with the Braves Foundation. I don't quite know what it is. I haven't been able to put my finger on it, but there is something. Tennessee.
You're looking into it. You're like Lady Gaga. I looked for evidence.
All right. Let's take another break. Or what are we going to say?
No, just a brief. Not my main fuck with this week, but a guy I did want to shout out with because.
Do you want to tease it for after the break?
Actually, yeah, that's a good idea.
See?
We'll tease it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice, good old tease there.
Just a guy I want to give some flowers to. That's all.
Just a little guy. Just a little guy. Back after this. We have returned to final segment of the program this week, Pod on Lansdowne. Fitz and Liam here at your service. If you have a question or a comment for the show, you are more than welcome to call our voicemail line. It is 617-420-2431. Leave a voicemail there to be featured on the show. Again, that number, 617-420-2431. Liam, who's that little guy that you wanted to give a shout out to?
Just a little guy, and we mentioned him briefly during a discussion of contract extensions. But Mr. Brian Bayo, who we have, I would not say we've been singing his, singing his praise.
We have not been shy in our disapproval recently.
Yeah, whatever the saying is. We've been thoroughly disappointed this year, for lack of a better word. But in his last 7 starts, he has put together a very decent stretch, I must say. Dating back to July 14th, this is 7 games started. Obviously, he looked very solid in Baltimore over the weekend as well. 40 and a third inning, 16 earned runs, 15 walks. We could be a little bit better there. But the ERA is 3.6. The FIP still 4.8. We can get that down. But overall, like the body of work, he's trending in the right direction. So the team is 6-1 in his last 7 starts. Obviously, we've seen him get a bunch of run support all season. But just wanted to shout out Bayo because he is slowly but surely, I think he's put together a good stretch here. It's nothing obviously sparkling. Like it's 6 1/3, 3 earned runs, 6 innings, 3 runs, 5 innings, 3 runs, 6 innings, 1 run, 6 innings, 1 run in his last 2 starts. So I think we're trending in the right direction here. Like if he can finish the year strong over these last 5-6 weeks,
it gives you confidence going into 25.
I think that would make everybody feel a lot better about his development. That's all.
Right, and we even with our critiques of him, which 100% were warranted in the past, I think it did come with the caveat, like, okay, we still believe in him going forward as a whole, right? They didn't give him this bag for nothing.
Right.
I think a huge part of his development, based off what we've seen of this year, is just the matter of, hey, if there's some traffic on the bases here, man, if you get into a little bit of trouble, just let's not self destruct here. Let's limit this damage. The 1 or the 2 spot here and there is not going to kill you. It's when you're giving up 5 over an inning or 4 in an inning. When you're giving up the crooked numbers, that's what's going to do you in. And what was it? I think he only gave up the 1 solo homer to Gunnar in Baltimore. I think that was really the only mistake.
I think that's yeah.
But like,
I mean, there were 3 walks, but only 2 hits. So it's like
you work around
if we can limit some of the walks a little bit more here through the rest of the year,
right?
I think the results are coming.
And then again, that goes to just, hey, even if you're going to walk some guys here and there, you're going to give a potato every now and again. Just don't let these mistakes compound, whether it's a lack of composure or you go away from the stuff that's working, even if it's just plain old bad luck. Just understand that, hey, it's not always going to break your way at the highest level of the game. Settle back in, keep your team in the game, and go from there. And the last couple of outings he's had, again, like you said, nothing startling, but that's trending in the right direction. That mixed with the fact that we've had belief in him as a whole, in spite of the struggles in 24, it gives you confidence going forward. And I think you nailed it there by saying that if it does end up well here in 24, if he's able to finish strong, no matter what happens to the team, okay, that's something that we can build off of and go forward. Just limit these mistakes. Don't let the 1 or 2 runs in an inning blow up to 4 or 5 or crooked numbers like that. Just don't let it compound.
It's so funny to me. I mean, obviously, it's the big 2024. We're not really worried about wins and losses, but it is hilarious to me that he's 11-5 on the year. Meanwhile, poor Tanner Houck is 8-8. The fucker can't get any run support.
Bayo would be getting Cy Young votes in 2005.
He sure would. He sure would be like when what was it? 99 or 2000 when Pedro's ERA was like 1.7. The next closest was like Clemens at 3.8 or something.
But Clemens won 20 games, Liam, probably.
Of course. How could I forget? Exactly. He's just piling up the wins and losses, man. So
how many wins would Pedro have had that year?
Watch,
it's like 17. It's still a good number, But he didn't hit 20, you see. Nick Pivetta, dude.
Pivetta. Don't tell me. Don't tell me.
Oh, it's stuck in the wall. It wasn't a homer. It got stuck in the got stuck in the fence. Ha! Like the chain link fan. Oh, he lucked out there. Wow. They call that a ground rule double. Wow.
That's a classic. That's a classic like high school field moment where you just put your hands up. Like, I'm not going to touch it.
I'm saying, Nick Pivetta, you better buy a lottery ticket tonight, buddy. Buddy or Bub? What should I say, Bub or Buddy?
I like Bub. I think Bub's good.
Bub, yeah. Workshopping tweets there as a team. Wow, I'm watching this on the fly. This is bad radio. On the fly. God, it got stuck.
Give me the play-by-play because I haven't seen it.
The fence. It's left center field, right above the 366 sign after the Crawford boxes jet out. Under the Bank of America sign there. On the fly, gets stuck in that fence there. Which, crazy to have a chain link fence.
It's like the bullpens are back. The bullpens are back there, right?
I suppose, but you're a professional team here.
Like, you'd think there would at least be some like lining or like some nylon cover.
To prevent that from happening. I mean, they ended up scoring on a sac fly anyways, but I mean, instead of it being 4-3 with no outs, I guess at least it's 4-3 with 1 out. Yeah, I mean, that's a break for Pivetta there. No doubt about it.
We'll take it.
Just, you have these nights from Pivetta. Gosh. Your team jumps out to a 3-0 lead, and then you immediately cough it up.
Yeah, I think I'm I hate to say it. I've been a huge Nick Pivetta defender, but
to quote our own Jake
think
Wallinger, I'm all set.
I'm all set. I think the experiment has run its course. He'll probably get a nice little bag this winter from somebody. They'll throw him, I don't know, 3 years, 45. He'll get like a Seth Lugo type deal, I think.
You know what's going to happen? The Rays are going to get him for three for 40.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Then they're going to
he'll get the Zach Eflin deal, and then be like some huge deadline acquisition in the division 2 years from now.
Oh, nice play, Eddie. But yeah, that's 100% what's going to happen. So is that all we got for Red Sox things?
I was gonna I don't know if you wanted to talk a little Big 3/Big 4, because I did get a wonderful chance.
We got to talk about your trip to Worcester.
Courtesy, I made it out to the Dirty Dub. Polar Park, man, first class experience, major league experience. I gotta say, it was my first time there.
I was gonna say it was your first
beautiful. Thanks to the Woo Sox for hooking it up. Like the seats were awesome. We had access to the club level.
Free food and drink.
No free food and drink, but
still,
it's all good. It's all good. They went above and beyond. My name was on the video board, and it was crazy. It was crazy.
Next time they'll hook it up.
Yeah, we'll see.
When Connell Lansdowne comes to throw out the first pitch at Polar Park, they'll hook it up with some fine Pilsner beers on the house.
On the house, yeah. But no, it was a great afternoon. We saw him play the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs.
Phillies, yep.
I gotta say, and met our great friend Matt Gross, another OTM legend.
Yes.
Yes. So that was wonderful. And I gotta say before I get to the Woo Sox, the Iron Pigs lineup, man, you can just tell that is an organization run by Dave Dombrowski.
Oh, I thought Alvarez had a homer to straightaway center again. I was like,
I'm already at the commercial break.
It was almost David Lynch. It is happening again. Twin Peaks, but the Dave Dombrowski masterclass. What was the lineup? Can we pull up the lineup?
The lineup was just like decimated. I couldn't tell you anyone outside of Cody Clemens was leading off for the Iron Pigs. David Dahl was in that lineup, and then genuinely that was it. I'm like, this is a AAA team. Like, you'd think there'd be some more quad A players that I might recognize, but David Buchanan came out of the bullpen at one point. Another guy who's had flashes at the major league level, but I was like, damn, like this is a Deal and Dave special right here.
Yeah, then
like,
you see that the Phillies are one of the best teams in baseball, you know?
Right, but it's like when it all comes crashing down, man. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't seem like there's much help on the way. But damn, that Woo Sox
locked up. You know what I mean? Like Harper's the end of time.
No, they have bigger fish to fry at the major league level. God, I wish that were me. But
the sun will shine upon us again soon, brother.
Yeah, but no, the Woo Sox lineup was great. Obviously, we didn't see Meyer. / looks like he's going on the IL / maybe for the rest of the year, which I don't love. But saw Roman Anthony, saw Kyle Teal get his first AAA hit. That was awesome. Shit, man, Blue Sox lineup is fucking loaded. I gotta say, with Bobby and the Barrel Man.
Bobby's the best AAA hitter.
You got Reese on the plate. Eddie Alvarez, the Olympian. Like, there's just names upon names in that Woo Sox lineup. I was loving it. We got to see Brad Keller toss. Greg Weiser came in at one point. So we saw Joely. Shout out Joely.
He's still kicking.
Yeah, it was a fun day, man. First minor league game I've been to in a long time. So just nice to like take in a beautiful afternoon at Polar Park. And
it really is a beautiful park. And the fact that you can walk around the entire
the
way that level is.
We didn't even do a full loop. So like I do want to go back and actually, I don't know, get there like right as gates open and do some more exploring. But God, it was special, man. I mean, I wish, sadly, I never got to McCoy, but I don't know. I don't know if we'd be able to stand up to Polar Park.
Yeah, I mean, McCoy just had a certain je ne sais quoi about it, you know?
Of course, of
Shout out to
course.
our boys from Small States, Big Takes, our favorite Rhode Island-based podcast. They would go defend McCoy to the death. No great shakes, no great thrills. Sitting out on the lawn was fun in left center field, but just a good cheap way to get out, you know. But that being said, Polo Park is awesome. I've only been the one time,
Shit special.
couple of years ago, but it's beautiful. It's crazy that they were able to get that going. You say major league experience. It obviously, you know,
Shout
smaller
out,
seat
shout out
capacity,
Larry
but
Lucchino, man. Larry
Lucchino.
knew what he was doing when it comes to a ballpark. Him
Most
and
certainly did.
Janet Marie Smith. That they know Larry knew how to cook, man. I gotta say. But yeah, and then like 24 hours later, Christian Campbell got called up. So now I got to go back before the end of the season for sure.
Fab Five.
Yeah, I mean,
Montgomery.
fucking. I tweeted it the other night, but like it's shocking to me how fast. And I don't think I should be shocked because I mean Campbell went to Georgia Tech, so he's similar to Teal in that like, okay, he's probably a little further along than Anthony and Meyer. But shit, I mean, he spent 56 games in Double-A compared to Myers 120 games at Double-A. Anthony spent 94 games. Teal spent 93 games. It's like, dude is zooming through the system,
flying.
And you're starting to see like
guys like that. They just pop up, you know. And sometimes it happens.
That, I mean, it's like obviously like this is a crazy comp, and like I wouldn't put this on anybody, but it does remind me of Mookie basically coming out of nowhere the summer of basically I think tail end of the 2013 season / I mean obviously the first half of the 2014 season. We're like, holy shit, like where'd this kid come from? Like he's lighting the minor leagues on fire.
Really on our radar at the start of last season, even, you know? It wasn't on our radar as this, you know, like this guy who now we see as damn near untouchable. It would have to be.
Do you mean Campbell?
I'm talking about Roman. It's another example.
Oh, Roman. Oh yeah, but
Anthony.
Well, I feel like Roman's different because
I mean he's on the younger side, you know, and
yeah, I mean it's weird to me like Campbell was a 4th round pick. At that point, I'm kind of like tuned out to the draft. Obviously, we're not the deepest prospect guys here. So if it's not like the first 1 or 2 rounds, I'm probably not going to recognize the name until they start making noise. But I mean, obviously, I think Roman is a whole nother animal. 20 years old, and you're in AAA already. I mean, he'll be up. You know, I don't. What do you think is the best case call up for Roman next year? Memorial Day?
I was gonna say like mid-May.
Yeah.
And the thing with Meyer, I mean, if he's on the shelf for the rest of the year, Meyer, I think his best case would be probably
at that point for Meyer. Like game. I'm kind of, I don't know, man. I don't want to like this sounds like so sports talk radio, like, oh, Meyer's injury prone, but at a certain point, I'm kind of worried. The most he's played in a minor league season so far is 91 games. Like Campbell's already at 96 this year. Roman's high was last year at 106. Teal is at 89 already this year. I'm like, I'm not going to be like, okay, he's injury prone. Shit, the kid's still 21.
Yeah.
But it's like it is. I think it does say something though that this is a guy that's been on and off the field since we drafted him, and he's still that highly touted.
Yeah, if he can put together it does. Then what, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like,
what's his issue now? I didn't specifically see what it is.
Shit, great question.
Does his leg fall off? I hope his leg didn't fall off.
No, but I'm like, I really want the full Marcelo Meyer experience. I don't feel like we've seen it yet because it's been so start and stop. Yeah. Low back inflammation is what it is. And then last year, I believe it was his shoulder. So Because I remember, I was at a game with Jake last year, and he ran into Meyer, and he went to the bathroom.
That's right.
And
One
at
of
that point in the
Jake's
year, like
crazy just running into random people. He has a knack for
yeah,
that.
just on that concourse at Fenway. This was, I don't know, middle of September. He had already been like shut down for the year, but hell, man, they're close. But yeah, I'm itching for the full Marcelo experience because I mean, I feel like Paul Pierce. Like, I'm tired of getting a taste of him. I want the whole load.
Licking my chops.
So
that's all I have for Red Sox related things. I did want to bring up one other note though.
What you got? What's on your mind, King?
The Prem, baby.
We're back. Slot ball man might again. Save my life.
What'd you think of Slot? What do you think of the first?
So I mean,
dueling 2-0 wins for both of us.
Admittedly, it was absolutely perfect that they fucking gave us the 7:30 kickoff to start the year. I fucking hate them, but so I only got I got up and popped it on. It was already like the 40th minute, so I really only caught the second half, but that's all I needed. I don't know. Looks promising. Still very similar to Clapp's style. Obviously, that's part of the reason they brought him in. But I think there is. I don't know. He just seemed more decisive in terms of like subs right off the bat. If like something wasn't working, obviously Clapp would try to like wait it out until things seemed like very dire. Whereas Slot was already pulling guys at halftime, and I'm like, I kind of like that.
Everything I've read with Slot is that he is good at adjusting on the fly to see how the game needs to be dictated. Arteta is good at going right from the get-go of, okay, we're going to kind of change a little bit something here, but in terms of changing on the fly, not a master of doing that. But he knows when he wants to make his changes. It was a good game for Arsenal. It got a little hairy for us in the second half. Saliba kind of made some uncharacteristic mistakes. He gave the ball away almost on a platter for Wolves. Raya had a good game, but they very easily could have made it 1-1. But Bukayo Saka is Bukayo Saka. My God,
I'm telling you, man, it's gonna be you guys in City again. So you better get the job done.
If it's not gonna be this year, I understand that they're well primed going forward, Arsenal, to win major trophies, to compete for the Champions League at the very least, and be considered one of the favorites over the next couple of years for the Prem. But if it's not this year, man, I'm not. Well, I wouldn't dare say I'm going to lose patience with Arteta because I'm not. But it's going to get really frustrating because the first year we came in second, when we had the quote unquote bottle job, we ran into one of the best teams in British history. It is what it is.
That's what they fucking do, man. They just they win out.
They turn it on from like March right? Yeah.
It's so dumb. I hate it. It's every year.
And last year proved, hey, this isn't a flash in the pan. We're actually here to compete. 89 points is good enough to win a lot of years. That's goal differential.
You're telling me.
Yeah, right. Yeah. What was you had like 92 and you still lost by 8?
We had 90. We had 97 that first time.
Or 97. Yeah.
That was 18-19. That broke my heart.
Yeah, but in any event, they need something big this year. I think an FA Cup would be fine. I don't know if they're necessarily built to win an FA Cup. I don't know if the squad is deep enough just yet. I think if they add someone like a Marino soon, which I think they will, they'll be better suited for it than maybe add another winger. But it's got to be, you got to make a deep Champions League run this year, like semifinal, or you got to win the Prem.
Well, I mean, what was last year? Round of 16?
Quarters.
It's still.
Bayern,
but then you run into Bayern. You run into Bayern, and
that's all they had to play for. They knew that they were going to lose to Bayer Leverkusen, so they got up for it. And you know what? There was a learning experience for Arsenal. But if again, I'm not going to be calling for anyone to be fired or to be moved on. I'm going to get very antsy, very fussy.
Next week, I'm going to see on the timeline #Arteta out.
No. I love my fucking manager too much, guys. He raises the standards too much. I fucking love Mikel Arteta, guys. But the tough stretch for us to start the year. We got to go to Villa this upcoming Saturday.
Good evening.
Brighton at home. We should win that game, but Brighton is, they're one
Brighton's
of those
tricky, man.
They're those frisky. We do a pretty good job against them over the last couple of years we have, but they are frisky. Then we got to go to Spurs, which will be tough. I think we can win that game, but it's going to be really tough. Then we go to City. That's our first 5 games, or the next 4 games.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I think if you can leave that, even if it was 11 points, 3 wins, a draw, and a loss, even if it was that, I think you're fine. Anything above that is gravy. That's amazing. Anything below that is, I would say, unacceptable. I think it's got to be at least 11 points. But if you leave a 13, that's even if it's a draw at City and you win those other 3 games, I think okay.
I will always take a draw with City.
People gave Arsenal shit like, because they were playing for the draw at the Etihad. I was like, are you kidding me? Like,
no, I'd always take a draw at City all day.
At City, yes, yeah, and then we get them later.
It sounds like a 3 and 4 road trip to me, man.
Yeah, right. That's what you call that's what you call full circle podcasting, right there. So, emoji of the week is any circle of your choosing. By the way, it could be the dot. It could be a dot. Sorry, just a circle. Just a circle. Song of the week. Oh, we should get a text from Jake Wallinger. I hope Nick Pavetta dies. This goes right there.
Understandable. It's very fair.
I should probably out that just to give the full effect, because Jake would be saying that on the pod. Do we want to have song of the week?
Yeah, I got you one.
Let's hear it.
Nobody Soldier. Hosier. I never
the Irishman himself.
It's a great little ditty. I don't understand what his whole, like, he's released this album, but then there was like an EP came out this weekend. But I don't know. I don't know how he was like releasing it the whole. I don't know, but whatever. It was a single on New Music Friday. Nobody Soldier. It's a banger.
It's a banger. Very good song. For me, let's see what we got here. Calling After Me by Wallows. That song's been stuck in my head all week. I was just looking through like my
Wallows action.
Wallows. Yep. Wallows is pretty good. They're either coming or they did recently come to MGM Fenway for a show.
Are you trying to see Shabuzi? He's at Emerson in September. I think it's like a weeknight though. Actually, let me double check that. I might be making that up.
I'm definitely going to be trying to go to Vampire Weekend in September. That is definitely on my list. They're playing at the Garden.
Yeah, it's a Monday night
for Shabuzi.
Yeah,
it's going to be tough to get the bar getting tipsy on a Monday night, but I digress. I think Vamp is either a Friday or a Saturday. Coin's coming soon too, I believe, because Coin's got a new album. I think
mess with some Coin. I'm seeing Post. I'm seeing Post a month from now. Post Malone.
Is he playing at the Garden?
He's at Fenway.
Oh, he's at Fenway.
His new country album came out over the weekend. It's fire. Gotta say, Country Post.
I was gonna say, has he gone full country now?
Yeah, it's there's a lot of features on it too. Good album, special.
To be expected.
Yeah, he doesn't miss. He can do it all.
The Coin singles have been very good as well. Maybe when that album comes out, I'll add a song or two for a song of the week there. So, but in any event, if that's all you got, that's all I got.
That's all I got. Oh, did we give Jake's song of the week?
I didn't reach out for one.
Oh no, he texted it to us.
Did he?
He texted it to. Yeah, it was right before. I hope Nick Pavetta dies.
yeah. Oh, it is Glenn Campbell's Wichita Lineman. There you go. Shout out Glenn Campbell.
Shout out Glenn. We love Glenn.
We love Glenn, don't we, folks? Wichita Lineman. So, Christy, there you go. Go forth and prosper there. So, that'll be it for this edition of Pod on Lansdowne. We thank you for listening, as always, following along, and again, voting for us in the Twitter poll. We really do appreciate it. So, for Jake, for Liam, I'm Fitz. You're you. We will talk to you next week, hopefully after treading water here for these remaining games, hopefully still being in the thick of it. Hopefully it's not over.
Just get to the Blue Jays, man. Just get me to the Blue Jays. 5 games against the Blue Jays. That's when we move.
Go Sox, get us to the Blue Jays, and obey your mother.
Go Sox. I love my boys. Obey your mother.